Well, it's taken its own life. I do little things sometimes for fun and, make money with it. But I have fun with it, too.
You mean
NFTs.
You bought Bitcoin?
No. But I sometimes will let people pay through Bitcoin, or will let people get involved in a new. If you think of it, it's an additional form of currency. And I used to say, I want one currency. I want the dollar. I don't want people leaving the dollar. And I feel that way. But I will tell you, it has taken on a life. I did a thing that people smile at, but it was wild. We did 1,000 sneakers, so limited edition sneaker run. The last one, and you could go through, our crazy new currencies, because that's what I call them. They're crazy, whether it's Bitcoin or others. And so many people were buying these things, and ultimately the last pair of sneakers sold for approximately, I hear, $450,000. It was a limited edition, a run. They were gold. They were, nice, cute. And we thought it was just a very small thing. It was a branding thing, and had a good time with it. The last pair sold for $450,000. People were going crazy for these sneakers. You probably were too. Everybody was. I have every friend I have has called me for a pair of sneakers. So it just took off, and I noticed that so many of them were paid for with this with the new currency. And it's a new cryptocurrency, and I couldn't believe the amount. And I'm saying, this thing has really, and other things I do, people are using it. And, I would be, I'm very much a traditionalist. I like staying with the dollar. You know that from when I was there. It's make the dollar the choice. I hate when countries go off the dollar. I would not allow countries to go off the dollar, because when we lose that standard, that will be like losing a revolutionary war. That will be a hit to our country, just like losing a war. And we can't let that happen. And too many countries now are fighting to get off the dollar. And frankly, and I know Jay feels strongly about this, and Jay did a fantastic job, by the way, in a group where there's always scandal and problems. Jay went through 4 years. There wasn't one scandal. I don't know, Jay, maybe you can tell me, but there wasn't one scandal. That is the most scandalous position, because it involves massive amounts of money. With Jay Clayton, we had no scandal, zero, nothing whatsoever. So I thought it was great. But I have seen there has been a lot of use of that, and I'm not sure that I'd want to take it away at this point.
The piece we hadn't seen before in Bitcoin was proof of work. But the magic, I think, comes from the fact that there is no central operator. All transactions are public. All the transaction rules are public. Anybody can enforce transaction rules. Like, that was kind of where the magic was. And so we kind of took it apart, and the use case that we decided to target in the early days was payments. Payments are a multi-trillion-dollar problem, and it seems like cryptocurrencies are just naturally suited to make payments better. And specifically, we kind of focused on cross-border international payments, not because domestic payments are great, but because cross-border payments are the worst. Like, if anyone who's made an international payment probably has stories of bad experiences. And so the worse the thing you start with, the less amazing you have to be better. And I think we can eventually be amazing and sort of take over the payments world, but we're not going to be there day one. And so if we can't succeed against the worst part of the problem, why are we bothering?
Compound Witness.
All right, folks, it's Monday, March 11th, and the BTFP program is ended. If you don't know what that is, let me simplify it. It's a liquidity backstop for the banks that was created last year during the banking crisis. Now, if you thought that the banking crisis was over, we are far from over, and the fireworks are already starting. Gold has been sending the signal, Bitcoin sending the signal, and today XRP up over 25%, sending the signal. And take a look at the bank stocks, folks. So as the backstop for the banks is pulled away, you're seeing New York Community Bank already down 5%. This is the same bank that had to get $1 billion bailout last week to just stay solvent. all red across the bank stocks here today, while we see Bitcoin and XRP going back up. What signal is the market sending us right now? You guys let me know in the comments down below. And if you missed it, I am back on YouTube. We just did a full live session. It's over there. Make sure you guys have subscribed, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content. A big week coming in here. The fireworks are already going off. Stay safe.
So you know that you've got this switch right here, that all you have to do is, I'm going to flip that switch up, no more BTFP. Come March 12th of 2024, and you know that your inflation problem is gone.
We have a launch detect. Confidence is high. I repeat, confidence is high.
Ripple's vision from the beginning really has been to apply these technologies in the same way that TCP/IP and HTTP are the technologies underpinning the Internet of Information. These blockchain technologies will be the underpinnings of an Internet of value.
Renee, is this an exercise? This is not an exercise.
General, DBS is tracking.
Where we have connected devices, we have connected information that will allow payments to flow. And as Norman was describing, if you're a large corporation moving $100 million, that's one thing. If you're a freelancer working in the Philippines doing design work for a company in London and you want to get paid $30 or 30 pesos, Philippine pesos, that's not a transaction that can easily be enabled. And in fact, for the companies that enable that, they require the freelancer to set up an account, and they don't actually pay it out until there's roughly 1,000 USD sitting in that account, and then they would pay it out.
Tell me this is one of your simulations, Mr. Jeffrey. All right. We are at DEFCON 1.
DEFCON 1?
Our view in the future is you don't have to have this pre-funding, and instead you can use a digital asset to have global liquidity on demand. Now, we build upon a tech stack, an open source technology called XRP. XRP originally was built by some engineers who had seen some of the flaws of Bitcoin and the challenges of scalability around Bitcoin. Where Bitcoin today, per transaction basis, it's rather slow and rather expensive. XRP is very, very fast, about 1,000 times faster per transaction and 1,000 times cheaper per transaction. The other dynamic, of course, of correspondent banking is some of the more quote-unquote exotic currencies, exotic corridors have been left to kind of stand on their own. And the liquidity in digital assets could be applied to actually make that much more democratized and level playing field.
In 2020, the United States government and central bank printed $6 trillion out of thin air and then distributed it through a whole bunch of subsidies, special interest projects, huge corporations and financial institutions, and basically any politically connected entity that had the lawyers and lobbyists necessary to make sure that they got their cut. I think most sane people hear that and think that's a huge number, and they understand at least that that's not fair. But I think the magnitude of the word trillions gets lost in our little linear brains. So I want to take a minute to explain what it means to print $6 trillion. First, we need to understand why the free market works. When you have money that is fair, sound money, where the rules are the same for everybody, it means essentially to spend money, you have to earn money. It means that every economic decision has skin in the game. There is no objective unit of value. All value is only relative. So the only reason that you know for sure some product or choice on how to spend your time isn't worth $500 is simply because you are the one who paid the price to get that $500. You are the only person who can feel and is bearing the responsibility for that $500 cost. So every time you choose product A over product B, or you spend money on your kid's braces instead of a new TV, or you buy the car that you need instead of the one that you want, you are directing the resources that you made in the world to tailor the economy to what you need. Now, the average American earns $2 million over their entire lifetime. Every hard choice, late night, emotional breakdown, every hope and dream they ever strived for, all of the blood, sweat, and tears that shaped the world according to their values rests in that $2 million. To print $6 trillion out of thin air and politically redistribute it means to erase the entire lives of 3 million people from economic existence. All of it. Poof. The care and concern of 3 million lifetimes worth of decision-making and judgments were replaced with a laundry list of corporate subsidies, a bunch of bailouts for corrupt financial institutions, interest-free loans to giant corporations that just use it to swallow up all of the small business in the country, blatant money laundering, and then a huge list of just political virtue signaling in 3,000 pages of nonsense written by a bunch of lobbyists that not a single person in Congress even reads.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
And that was just 1 year. And everybody wonders why it feels like the country's going to shit and nothing we do matters. It's because it doesn't. We literally use a money that lets them steal the economic weight of every decision we ever make. The very tool by which we transmit our values into the world has a master key, and the counterfeit class uses it whenever it is convenient for them. We have a fiat economy that reflects the fiat values of the counterfeit class, and it cannot and will not get better until we use a money that they can't control. But that's just my 2 cents.